The Joe Rogan Experience.
We were talking before this podcast started that when you left Opie and Anthony, you went and decided to do your own thing behind a paywall.
Yeah.
So you're like in this position, you're sort of uncancelable. You don't have all the trappings that everybody else has in terms of like sponsors and people coming after you. You just have subscribers.
Yeah, this was a conscious decision because I saw it coming a while ago. The what they call cancel culture thing.
Well, you guys get hit with it first.
Yeah.
Out of all the people that I've ever heard of, because when you guys had that homeless person on who said he wanted to, what do you say, he wanted to rape Condoleezza Rice?
Condoleezza Rice and the Queen of England and the First Lady. I gotta say something about that though. We had just gotten to satellite radio from FM radio, and to us this was like, all right, it opens up a whole new world of what we can do. So I thought, what better place to just showcase a homeless person? Let's see what rantings and ramblings come out of a homeless person's mind. So bring him up in the studio, put him in front of a mic, and let him go off. It's satellite. It's not no FCC rules and regs. And the guy starts talking about crazy stuff and raping political figures and the Queen of England. And we think it's hilarious because you're getting that insight. You're getting into the mind of a crazy homeless guy on the street. And the shit hits the fan. Oh, my God, Condoleezza Rice that brings the sex thing in and the race thing and all that. And they lost their mind. And we were like, oh, shit, we're getting fired again? Like, we're going to get fired for this.
What happened? You didn't get fired, but you guys got suspended for...
Yeah.
For how long?
We got suspended for, I think it was a month. I think that was a month suspension from satellite radio, but we were still at K-Rock in New York doing that show in the morning because we used to do both.
Yeah, we used to go across with the microphones.
Yeah,
I did that with you guys.
We did the
we would
walkover.
do terrestrial, and then we would broadcast live as we were walking down New York City with mics and comics, and we would go to the other studio.
Yeah, we would do things. Occasionally, like Rich Voss would go into a diner or something and just start doing stand-up in front of the customers. It was hilarious.
Cringe stand-up.
Cringe stand-up. These people don't know what's happening, and stupid big Club Soda Kenny would announce them. Ladies and gentlemen, they're looking like they're, it's going to be like a mass shooting is going to start. And it was hilarious.
You guys were the birth of podcasts.
It was a podcast on the radio.
Yeah.
We didn't know it at the time. We didn't know what
Nobody knew what a podcast
was, but it was a bunch of guys that you find funny, you like hanging out with, talking about anything. And that seems to be what the formula is,
But you guys figured it out first, because every other radio show that I did, like if I did Stern or anything else you did, it was very formatted.
Regimented, timed.
Like he had some things he wanted to talk to me about Fear Factor. He wanted to talk to me about the UFC. He had questions about this. And, it's always like, and then you have a call in, and then you have celebrity guests. And he had it all like very smooth. You guys would just bring a bunch of people in.
Yeah.
And then Patrice would start talking, and Burr would start talking, and Ari would start talking. And it was just chaos.
Dude.
And we were all just having fun.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
When you have a room of those guys, Nick DiPaolo and Patrice, God rest his soul,
Norton.
and Bill Burr, Norton, all these guys, Colin Quinn, they're all in a room. You can't lose. As people will hear it and say, holy shit, that was one of the funniest shows. And it's like, what show? The Opie and Anthony show. So people remember the name of the show.
Yeah.
But all these other guys are delivering this amazing, funny comedy. So it worked that way. And we embraced that and just started bringing these comics back on in different combinations. Because you know better than anyone, some of the funniest stuff you'll ever hear are guys shitting on each other.
Yeah.
And when someone was in, we called it being in the barrel, and that could consist of wearing a shirt. You come in wearing a shirt, and Patrice goes, "What kind of shirt is that you wear? Where the fuck you get?" And now everyone's on your shirt.
Yes.
Now you're sitting there you're looking at all the comics going, "What can I use to get this off me?" So you'd have to shit on Voss's teeth, or
always.
So it was this constant battle to get the shit off of you.
Yeah.
And it was funny every fucking time.
And you guys were so great at letting the comics just go wild and not put any restrictions on anybody and not try to control the conversation. Just let it have fun. Just let it breathe.
Yep. A lot of shows, a lot of hosts. And this is something you do that is fantastic and rare in the business. Let your guests talk. Let them, and if you have a room full of guests, let them have fun. If you hear funny shit going on, a lot of people, their ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
And they feel, hey, it's my show, my name's on the marquee, I have to jump in and say something. If something funny's happening, back off. Leave it the fuck alone. It's going to be great. People are going to love it, and they're going to go, oh, that was on the Opie and Anthony show. So it doesn't really matter who's saying it.
You guys had figured it out. It really is the birth of podcasts. And I learned a lot from doing that show. And I also learned that I wanted to do it. Because when I would do your show, I was like, God, I want to do a show like this. I want to do something like this. Because it was, when I did regular radio, if I did on tour, I would say, oh, that may be fun to do a regular radio show. But then I would be like, they will never hire me. I will say something stupid. I'll get fired. This is not going to work out for me. But I do your show, and I'd be like, I'd be like, this. I think I can do this.
I think I could
do this.
I was paranoid because I never went to school for radio. I was in construction until my early to mid 30s, dude. Yeah. I got into radio late. And my impression was always, if I didn't know the alloy of the metal in the transmitter antenna, there's no way you're getting into radio. Like, I thought you had to know all this shit that they taught you in radio school. And the fact of the matter was, these jocks were constantly looking for somebody that was entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, I never realized how desperate a lot of these jocks are for somebody that could make people laugh.
Someone with varied interests, too. Someone who was interesting, who could talk about different things.
Talk about a lot of different things. You know, sometimes you got to talk out your ass like you almost kind of know what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. But this the other thing about like what you guys did was you created a safe place for men. Like, where you could just be a fucking idiot.
One of the last bastions of...
That's the thing. It's like there's a lot of men out there, but there's not a lot of entertainment that's geared towards men. And one of the things that comes up on my podcast when the advertising people get to talk and they're like, Jesus Christ, he's got like 94% men. Like, what is going on here? This is crazy. I'm like, they're not represented. Men are not represented. It's like, I don't know what the number is of regular television, but it's not geared towards men.
No, not at all.
There's like The Talk and The View, and there's a lot of these shows that are geared towards women. But in terms of like a man show, you can't have a male-oriented show on network television. It would be toxic.
It's a personal affront to feminism and women, and regardless, it's just men being men.
Which is weird, right?
I don't know where this idea came from that in the past even couple of decades, which, you know, relative to a tortoise or a mayfly, you know, it varies how long a period of time that is. But in that period of time, we as humans were supposed to have physically and mentally evolved to this point where men don't still want to talk about tits and cars and lifestyle stuff and
guns.
Bash each other, guns, of course. Like, I think there are people that actually think we have evolved out of that.
You know
why? Instead
because
of being
there's a lot of
brainwashed.
A lot of men that are henpecked and they work in some terrible job where human resources is breathing down their neck, and they have neutered themselves and they put themselves in this position of like this sort of like non-man. And then
non-man.
Yeah, and then because of that, they chastise other free men. Like, look at this. This is toxic masculinity in its finest form. And they say all these crazy things like, you can't be. You're not free. It doesn't. And it's also equated somehow or another with cruelty, with being a bad person, with being a shitty person, just by joking around or doing the things that we like to talking about the things that we like to talk about.
Yeah. I hear punching down a lot is a bad thing.
That was your whole show.
That was the entire show. The entire 20-year history of the Opie and Anthony show. There was never a punch that got past the 180-degree mark.
You guys don't get enough credit. I really say it every time I can that you were the inspiration for podcasts, without a doubt.
It really is for what I think for what Howard did for the shock jock genre in radio. We kind of were right at that precipice of radio and podcast.
Yes.
When that happened. And I think what we were doing was better suited to a podcast than it was a radio show.
Yeah, I think so too. But it was a great radio show
yeah,
too, though.
but it was a great radio show.
It's just the problem is the suits.
Yeah.
The problem was not the content.
Always.
The problem was the suits. The problem is the people go, hey, you can't. This is not. Like, meanwhile, did you just see what happened? Everyone was crying, laughing. That's entertainment.
Yeah,
and
that's what they want.
Yeah.
It got to a point where early on, even when I got in, which was, again, late in the game, but early on in the 80s and 90s, all they gave a shit about were ratings. If you had ratings and you did something stupid, you'd get this slap on the wrist in public, and behind the door with the GM and the PD and all the other management people, they'd be like, oh, my God, that was great. Great job. Oh, look. Take off a week, paid. We'll say you're suspended, and that's it. They really did this, and we went through a few of those, and it turned into they really did get mad, and they really started suspending you without pay and firing you. And these were these suits, like you say, that just didn't understand the talent end of the business anymore. And when radio stations were owned by mom and pop operations. We were at WAAF up in Massachusetts, and it was owned by Zappis Communications. I met Zappis. I met the guy. When we went to Infinity Broadcasting, there was no Mr. Infinity. There was Mel Karmazin, and there was all the suits from CBS.
It got big. It got real big.
CBS has affiliates, and they also deal in laundry detergent with this subsidiary. And like, you say something, and baby diapers don't sell. Like, that's when it got really fucked up, and personalities weren't able to do what they do anymore because now you're fucking up their sales in the burger industry. And, you know, Zappis owned a fucking radio station.
Yeah.
And he loved when his radio station got ratings. That was all there was to it. Now, it's all a conglomerate of bullshit.
Catch new episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience for free, only on Spotify. Watch back catalog JRE videos on Spotify, including clips. Easily, seamlessly switch between video and audio experience. On Spotify, you can listen to the JRE in the background while using other apps and can download episodes to save on data cost, all for free. Spotify is absolutely free. You don't have to have a premium account to watch new JRE episodes. You just need to search for the JRE on your Spotify app. Go to Spotify now to get this full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience.